All right, boys and girls, we're moving on to the West Regional. If you're looking at your bracket, this is the bottom right region, led by the defending national champions, the Kansas Jayhawks, led by the Big 12 Player of the Year, Jalen Wilson. Heck of a season this year, boys. Didn't think be getting back to a one seed after losing not only Ochai Agbaji, but Christian Braun was a first round pick by the Nuggets. And then David McCormick, big man in the middle. And then, of course, Remy Martin also gone. Didn't think we'd be getting back to a one seed this year, but happy. And leads us right into our first matchup, the Howard Bison, the MEAC. Do you see the Bison giving the Jayhawks any run here?
No way. No way. We can just move on. You already hyped up Kansas enough. They're gonna blow out the Bison, turn it into bacon.
The Bacon Bison.
Bacon
They
Bison.
I believe they last made the tourney in 1992, and they got a 30-point smacking by the Jayhawks. Jayhawks scored over 100 points. I don't think it's going to be over 30 like it was 30 years ago, or yeah, 30 years ago. But it's still going to be a smacking.
Yeah.
Next up, 8-9 matchup. All these 8-9 matchups are juicy. Power conference schools.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Arkansas Razorbacks out of the SEC taking on the Illinois Fighting Illini and Monster Meyer himself. Max, are you rolling with the Big Ten and that queef?
This game is so tight because everything it's like a very
I see you
equal
looking back and
matchup.
forth. I see you looking at your
Yeah.
flashcards. I see you
I'm
going
like,
back and
oh
forth.
man, oh man, oh what? Oh, huh? I think it all it's all very, very equal. I like Illinois, but you know what? I'm going with Arkansas. Arkansas has the strength of
It is tough to say.
strength of schedule.
I
Geez,
say I say it
long
a
night.
lot. I mix it up a lot. I say it a lot on this podcast. Strength of schedule, like a third ranked strength of schedule. That's tough to say
Yeah.
quick. It is.
Hey, well, thanks for helping me out there. They're number three. Okay, they're number three on that. So they've faced a lot of different talented teams. Yeah, I went Arkansas on this, but this is a coin flip. This out of all the ones that we've had, this is the one I was like,
Yeah. Like I say, 8-9 matchups are coin flips. You said it right there, Max. This one is nothing different. Illinois, Illinois for me, man, they've been a love hate team for me because I want to love them with that talent and that size. Matthew Meyer starts at the three at 6'9", and Coleman Hawkins at 6'10". Then you got Dane Dange at 6'9", 270. That's a big team.
yeah.
Terrence Shannon at 6'6". They're athletic, they're good, but I've lost too much money betting on the Illini this year. I'm taking them to lose. Arkansas Razorbacks have just as much talent, if not more. I got the SEC Razorbacks moving on.
Hell yeah.
Next up in the West, we got the 5-12 matchup. A couple mid majors here. St. Mary's Gales, the West Coast, had a pretty good season this year.
Yeah.
26-7. They're taking on the A10 champs, the Rams from VCU. Max, are you calling another 12-5?
A lot of people I've heard are taking this 12-5. They're taking it. I get it. VCU is not a bad team. I'm just gonna say right now though, St. Mary's defense is for real. Okay, they beat Gonzaga this year. They also lost to Gonzaga twice, but they they did get them one time, and that was because of hard defense. Their defensive points per game is 60.1. That's very low. That's a low scoring ball game.
Awesome.
Okay, these guys shoot very well from the arc. They take care of the ball fairly, about 11 turnovers a game. Strength of schedule again for them is 12. So I'm sorry, I got the St. Mary's. I got St. Mary's. I think I slept on them last year because didn't they squeak into they might have squeaked into a Sweet 16?
Oh boy, the St. Mary's Gales. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you.
Yeah, I just remember when they won, I was like, man, I slept on them. I got them this year.
Yeah, I think people are definitely sleeping on St. Mary's. They're great. They're great in the computers. 11th at Ken Palm, 11th in the net, 18th at BPI. St. Mary's is a solid 5 seed, but guess what, boys? I'm taking VCU on a 9-game win streak. I got the Rams. Shaka
Cool.
Smart's old school.
Cool.
12-5 upset here. VCU's moving on to the next round, boys.
I like it.
Next matchup in the West, the 4-13 matchup. The Big East UConn Huskies taking on Rick Pitino in the Iona Gales out of the MAC.
Yeah.
Max, you got an upset here?
Oh man, you better believe Rick Pitino's going to bring it because he's going to try to sign a contract next year to some bigger school than Iona. But Rick Pitino can coach, man. He's completely transformed this Iona team. Last year they should have made the dance, but they lost to St. Peter's. St. Peter's who got hot. Hey, Peacocks, man. I hear that in my sleep. I hear that in my sleep and wakes me up like an alarm clock every morning. I just hate it. But man, I really like UConn, man. I really like them. I think they're really good. They were great to start the year. They slowed down a little bit, but then they picked it up again in the Big East, where it's just really tough in the Big East. I got UConn. No upset here.
I'm right there with you. No upset here. I really like UConn too. Rick Pitino, this is probably his last game at Iona. A lot of rumors about St. John's, so he could be facing UConn on the regular
I
start
like
next
it.
season.
I like that.
Rick Pitino is a great coach. There's no denying that. Yes, I agree with him getting fired from his brothel that he was running at Louisville.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't mean he's not a good coach on the court. Okay, so I don't have an upset here. I got the Huskies moving on. Going to the bottom half of the region, the West Regional, bottom right of your bracket. We got the Horned Frogs of TCU, another team out of the Big 12. Geez, how many teams this conference have? Taking on who we just found out not too long ago, just 25 boned the Wolfpack of Nevada, the Arizona State Sun Devils, as the 11 seed from the first four tonight, moving on to play TCU in Denver on Friday. Max, you think Arizona State's hot shooting tonight can lead them over the Horned Frogs?
Well, I'll tell you right now, you definitely, if I was a Horned Frogs, you better be ready to bring it because this team just blew out Nevada. They blew them out to start their season or their playoff. And but I'm telling you right now, TCU is really, really good. I have TCU taking down Arizona State. Arizona State can't shoot the damn ball. They shot it good tonight, but I think that's a one and done because all season long they've been shooting. Their field goal percentage is 41.3. That's a terrible shooting percentage.
Yeah. Could they be hot at the right time?
Could be, but I'm not taking them. TCU, baby.
I gotta agree with you, Max. You know, I'm probably biased towards the Big 12, but I've seen TCU a handful of times, and you know we like Mike Miles here, so I got the Horned Frogs moving on.
Nice.
Next up, we got a 3 seed getting kind of slept on, in my opinion. The Bulldogs of Gonzaga, the West Coast Conference champs, taking on the WAC champs, the Western Athletic Conference, the Antelopes of Grand Canyon, coached by Bryce Drew. Can Bryce Drew pull off some more? Can he pull off some more March magic here?
I'm going no. You know, I'm going to bring this up right now because we're going to continue to talk about Gonzaga in a little bit. But I want to say this Gonzaga team is different, and here's why. Okay, couple reasons. First reason is that there's less talk about them. You know,
Exactly. That's
every
number one.
single season,
It's
they're
number
always
one.
number one, number two, and they just everyone's talking about Gonzaga, Gonzaga. I think the pressure gets to them, but this year that's not going to happen. All right, they have 5 juniors and seniors on the team. When was the last time Gonzaga has had 5 juniors and seniors? They always have
Sure.
one and doneers. They always have one
Yeah.
and doneers.
Yeah.
So I think the leadership with Drew Timme is a lot of fun and in this region. But we'll talk about them more. I got Gonzaga taking down Grand Canyon. We don't have to talk more about that.
You got him taking down Grand Canyon. Yeah. I agree with you. I 100% number one about Gonzaga this year. Nobody's talking about them. They were, if I'm not mistaken, the number one overall seed the last two tournaments. Okay. The number one overall seed was Gonzaga the last two tournaments. Nobody's talking about him this year. Drew Timme's still getting it done. He's moving on.
Love it.
Next matchup. We got your Big Ten private school Pussycats out of Northwestern taking on another team from the Mountain West, the Broncos of Boise State. Max, you got the Pussycats moving on?
Man, this is a fun matchup. This is a fun one. Literally when I took the stats, it was even at the end. It was tied. The stats were tied at the very end, and I went with Boo Buie of Northwestern because I think Boo Buie is a hell of a player. Senior, hell of a player, averaging 17 points per game. He took over the team at one point, beating Purdue, beating I think it was Illinois and Indiana, or maybe it was Wisconsin. Anyway, all great wins. I think they squeak one out here against Boise State. It's going to be a really good game, and their defense is outstanding, by the way. Northwestern, great defensive team.
Yeah, this is a toss-up matchup right here. Northwestern looked all right in that Big Ten tournament. I don't think people have been watching the Broncos of Boise State. I'll put my hand up. I haven't seen them.
Yeah,
They're 31st at KenPom, 14th in defense, 29th in the net. Those are solid numbers, and I'm calling a little 10-7 upset special here. Fuck the Big Ten.
oh man, yeah, you're really shitting on the Big Ten. Other than Michigan State. Sorry, Michigan State to the Final Four. All right.
Yeah. So I got the Broncos of Boise State taking down the private school Pussycats, led by Chris Collins and his son crying after wins. They're gonna be crying.
Passionate.
They're gonna be crying. They're gonna be crying after this Broncos game because they're gonna get slapped. They're going home early. Last first round matchup of the West Regional, the 215. We got the Pac-12 regular season champions, the UCLA Bruins, taking on another Bulldog, the UNC Asheville Bulldogs out of the Big South. What can you tell me about the Bulldogs, Max?
I can tell you they're not a bad team. I can tell you that in 3-point percentage, they're ranked 6th. Field goal percentage, they're ranked 26th. And they have a guy in Drew Pemper who's averaging 21.2 points per game. Like he took over the game in that championship game for the Big South, and it was awesome. It was
comeback.
Fun.
That was a big comeback if I'm not mistaken. Game. Big South Player of the Year, Drew Pember. Big South Player of the Year.
Nice call. They also have 6 juniors and seniors. They're 6 players deep with at least 21 minutes per game. You know, this is a experienced team. So I think it's going to be a fun one, especially because we look at UCLA and man, they're missing a big player. They're missing a big one.
Yeah,
another player's hurt that's supposed to be coming back, but as of right now, it's kind of still up in the air. But as far as this first round goes, I am still going with UCLA. I think Mick Cronin and his defense UCLA's defense is ranked 7th as far as defensive points per game. They are ranked 7th. Okay. So they're a very good defensive team. They can handle Drew Pemper.
I agree that they can handle Drew Pember in the first round. Another team that I wish wasn't a 15. I think some of these 14s and 15s could have been flipped for me.
Sure.
But UCLA moving on to the next round. Second round matchups in the West. We both have the Jayhawks taking on the 8th seeded Arkansas Razorbacks out of the SEC. Max, you see a problem here for Kansas?
I see that Arkansas likes to play defense just like Kansas does. They are both very equal as far as points per game goes. I like that Kansas passes the ball a little bit more. Definitely seems like a little bit more chemistry, if you're asking me. But you know, if there's Arkansas struggles from the 3-point line, they struggle from the free throw line. There's no way they're taking down a well coached. If Bill Self is back, by the way, he's supposed to be back. Am I correct?
Supposed to be. I think I saw something yesterday. Now he's questionable for the first round. I think it's just going to be a day by day thing.
Okay. I still think that I mean, come on, they made it to the Big 12 championship without Bill Self. So they're taking down Arkansas.
I agree that they're taking down Arkansas. They're going to be pushed here. This is going to be a good game. Anthony Black and Nick Smith Jr., they're both looking like lottery picks, those two guards. And NBA guards, they can lead you in March, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm not picking an upset here, but this is going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game.
Yep.
Okay. Next up in the second round of the West Regional, we both have the UConn Huskies sitting there, seated 4th. I've got them taking on the VCU Rams. VCU's hot, like we said, that 9-game win streak, but they're not going to have anything for UConn. UConn size, they're athletes.
Yeah.
UConn's gonna smack the Rams. It might be double digits.
I'm just gonna agree with you. Just to move on, UConn's really good, and you're right. They're big. They're eighth in the net, and man, I like the way they play. They shoot the ball very well too. Maybe it's a closer game than we think because of defense reasons. They both are defensive teams, but UConn can actually score while playing defense. So that's all I got.
I would be taking, if UConn VCU matches up, I might be taking a double digit game there for the Huskies. Next matchup, moving on to the bottom half of the second round of the West Regional. Gonzaga, I think we both have Gonzaga and TCU there.
Yes, we do.
Max, what do you think about that?
I think it's a great battle. I think TCU is very, very good. But just like I was bringing up earlier with Gonzaga, it's a different team. It's a different team. They're going to the Sweet 16. I love the senior leadership from Drew Timme and Julian Strother. Both of them are great players, and they're taking down TCU. They're going on to the Sweet 16, baby.
I agree right there with you. I don't want to spend any more time. You mentioned the Sweet 16. Trivia time for you, Max. I bet you didn't think you were going to get trivia time in the last regional tonight.
Uh-oh.
If Gonzaga and Mark Few go to the Sweet 16 this year, how many straight Sweet 16s will that make? Straight.
Oh, wow.
Straight. How many Sweet 16 straight for Gonzaga and Mark Few? Counting this one, if they do it here, this
10.
would be actually 8. 8 straight.
Pretty good, though.
I think that's damn impressive. I think that's damn impressive for the Bulldogs and Mark Few. Consistency. Lot of those are high seeds, so they're favored in those games. So let's not get mistaken. But still, they're handling business in March.
Mm-hmm.
We both got them in the Sweet 16. Last second round matchup in the West Regional. We both have UCLA sitting there, the Pac-12 regular season champs. I got them taking on the Boise State Broncos.
Okay.
I don't know what to think about the Mountain West, especially with Nevada getting spanked like they did tonight.
By a bad team, too. Arizona State's, I mean, I shouldn't say a bad team. Arizona's just, they don't shoot very well. So you obviously didn't play
tonight. They did. Tonight they did.
Yeah. Gosh. I wasn't playing much defense.
I'm not going to sit here on the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast and pick the Broncos over the Bruins. I'm taking UCLA.
So I got UCLA against Northwestern. Okay. Both defensive teams. But UCLA they're just better. They're just all around better. Jaime Jaquez, he's a better player than Boo Buie. If we're talking big dogs here. And yeah, I got UCLA still squeaking into a Sweet 16, even with one of their big players out. We'll see how much further they go,
Yeah.
but I got them beating Northwestern.
Yeah. I believe that we both have the top four seeds moving to the Sweet 16, if I'm not
We do.
mistaken. I this region for me, I think is the best region, the most difficult to get out of.
Yeah,
The
stuff.
top five teams, these four with St. Mary's, were all top 11 in Ken Palm. So definitely the toughest region, the most difficult to get out of for me. And also for me, the most fun to watch. Like you got UCLA, Kansas,
Yeah.
Gonzaga, UConn. You got Rick Pitino and Iona. You got St. Mary's having a great season.
Mhm.
So I think this region right here is the most difficult to get out of and the most fun to watch for me.
I love it.
Setting up those Sweet 16 matchups. Juicy, juicy, triple juicy. UConn, Kansas, 1-4.
Yes. Please. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Please be
I'm
the matchup.
asking. I'm asking you, please. I uh I had all day long the UConn Huskies winning this game. Okay. The UConn Huskies are number one in offensive rebounds in the nation, with Adama Sanogo up there and
Mhm.
Clingan, 7'2" Clingan off the bench. And if we don't know, Kansas is small, boys. 6'7",
Mhm.
6'7", 6'8" up front. This they could get pounded on the boards in this game. I had UConn in this game all day long. I went back and sat down and looked at this baby with Bill Self. I don't think Danny Hurley has won a game in the tournament with UConn yet. I believe he has a goose for wins, Danny Hurley at UConn in the tournament.
Okay.
With Jalen Wilson, if Kevin McCullough is healthy, you got DeJuan Harris at championship point guard. I flip flopped on this one, and I went back to my Jayhawks. Kansas,
Nice
Kansas
call.
moving on to the Elite Eight, but damn it, UConn fourth at Ken Palm, sixth in offense, eighth in the net, sixth in BPI. UConn, UConn could win it all. UConn could cut down the nets.
Yeah.
They are the best four seed out there. I really like UConn. I picked them to win the Big East. UConn could beat Kansas, but damn it, I'm picking the Jayhawks to take them down in the Sweet 16.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Of course, you got to go with your home blood, man. You got to go with your team. You got to for
all
Elite Eight action.
all day
Uh,
I had UConn in there all day.
hey, this can go either way. All right, this is a game where you got. This is one of the best games of the year. If it happens, please, like I said, please let it happen. But guess what? You're gonna hate me, dude. I'm going opposite. I am going UConn. Hey, you shat all over
Oh,
my Boilers. You
I didn't
shat all over
chat
my
on them.
Boilers.
I said part of me likes them. I said part of me likes them. I want
Only a
them to
Sweet
make a Final
16
Four.
worthy. Only a Sweet
Well,
16 worthy.
same for the
So
Jayhawks for
same
you.
for Kansas, but you didn't help me to make that decision. I picked this well before you decided with Purdue, just so you know. But I do have UConn, dude. UConn rebounds the ball better.
Number
They're
one
better on
offense.
defense. Okay. Uh Blowouts. How many blowouts they had this year? Which for me, that's at least 15 points that you just blow out a team. They did it
Smacking,
15 times.
smacking
Okay.
people.
Kansas only 9. I mean, Kansas had 9 blowouts, but 15. The Big
Yeah,
East is good. All right, so let's not sleep on UConn. I have them taking down the number 1 seed, Kansas.
that's a really juicy call by you. And I was with you all day. UConn beat Alabama by 15 earlier this season. So UConn, did you hear what? Did you hear that?
UConn beat
UConn
Alabama.
by 15 earlier
Damn.
this season. So UConn, like I say, can be a national champion, but I got them losing the Sweet 16.
Okay.
Second Sweet 16 matchup in the West Regional. We both have UCLA and Gonzaga. These two teams have played, recently. In tournaments. I believe UCLA was the team that knocked Adam Morrison out when he was balling for Gonzaga.
Mm.
And then 2 years ago, the Final Four, Jalen Suggs hits the half court shot to beat UCLA in the Final Four. Jalen Suggs,
That was
2 years
sweet.
ago.
That was sweet.
So these two teams have been matching up a few times. I hope I see another
Yeah.
match here. What do you think about the Bruins and the Bulldogs? The
Another
two
great
who
matchup, like you said. I love that insight that you brought up. Little bit of blood here, little bit of blood that's going to be on the court. They're both coached very well. They're both coached very well, but a this actually came down to the point where it's like now the injury to me makes sense. This injury is going to hurt UCLA against a very experienced Gonzaga team. I have
yeah,
Gonzaga taking down number 2 UCLA. I didn't want to. I like UCLA. You know, I'm
we
right here
both
in
do.
LA,
We
but
both do.
I think Gonzaga they are better than you're thinking.
I agree with you. Nobody's talking about the Zags. And I also agree with you in this game. I got the Gonzaga taking on the Bruins.
Okay.
Jalen Clark is who we're talking about. Who's out? The junior guard. I don't know if we know, but he was named Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, second leading scorer. That's a huge loss, and it's gonna. If it doesn't bite him before this, it's gonna bite him against Gonzaga. And
Yeah.
Drew Timmy's gonna have his Drew Timmy's gonna have his way.
Yeah.
Drew
I
Timmy's
agree.
gonna have his way in this game. Drew Timmy's going for 25 and 13 in this game. So that sets up a Kansas Gonzaga
Ooh,
Elite Eight for me,
that's fun.
and a Yukon Gonzaga
Oof.
matchup for you, Max. You want to lead us off?
Ooh, man, both of those are so juicy.
Oh,
Oh,
please,
man, I love it. I love
please,
it both.
please.
Man, going over the stats, going over everything, thinking about coaching, thinking about these things. I had to go with an experienced coach that's been there, done that. I'm just going to skip forward and say I have Gonzaga going to the Final Four.
Wow.
I was not thinking that, especially when Purdue wailed on Gonzaga at the beginning of the season. I was like, well, this is going to be a tough year for Gonzaga. It just doesn't seem like they have it. They end up going. I mean, they end up 28-5. They just kept winning, 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 winning. They lose one to St. Mary's and then win, 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 win. They're on a 9-game winning streak. Okay, they're back. They're back. And how many times am I going to tell you? Different Gonzaga team. Different. They have seniors and juniors experience. Here we go.
I like the Final Four pick of the Zags there, Max. And I believe I had them in there when I had Kansas going down to UConn. But
Oh,
now that I have the Jayhawks beating UConn and moving on to taking on the Zags, it doesn't stop there, boys. Gonzaga goes down. Mark Few doesn't know what to do, and Bill Self moves on to the Final Four and goes back-to-back Final Fours for Bill Self.
we're so biased. We're so biased. We got Purdue in there. We got a KU in there. It's hard to let go of your team, especially when they're a 1 seed.
And then you hear people, experts, taking them to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So
the
then you're like, how can I
experts.
not? How can I not? When these guys that are getting paid to do this are taking them to the Final Four, how can
Yeah,
I not take my Jayhawks?
sure,
But that
sure.
wraps up our regionals. Max, you had Gonzaga over UConn there, and I had Kansas over Gonzaga.
Okay.